Hi dear fans, friends and subscribers, welcome to this Saturday edition of the Cricket Happenings show with your host Ram. Well, you would be wondering that my voice is not coming a bit clear. Well, I do have a sore throat, but as you all know, cricket is something from where I can never ever stay away, and here I am talking to you on the two matches that were played today in the T20 World Cup 2014. The first match which was played was between Sri Lanka and South Africa, and that was a very exciting match, almost going down to the wire with Lasith Malinga, the bowler. One was probably looking out for a real cracking contest between David Miller's bat and Lasith Malinga's ball, but that was not to be, as two runouts completely derailed the plans of the South Africans. And the South African, in the end, it was all left to the tailenders, and the task became absolutely beyond the reach. But it was a very close game in the end, with Sri Lanka winning the match against South Africa by 5 runs in the final over. And then there was one match which was truncated by rain today, unfortunately, and that was a match between New Zealand and England, where England put up the highest score which has been put up in Chittagong, I was told, 172 for 6 in a 20-over match. And New Zealand, well, when rain came and it was decided by the Duckworth-Lewis, New Zealand were 52 for 1, and by the Duckworth-Lewis method, they won the match. I thought it was a margin of 9 runs. By the Duckworth-Lewis method, the match was decided, and it is a real a farce according to me, deciding. But what to do? I mean, the rain is something which you can never keep it away, and especially I feel that World Cup games and all, if they are going to be hit by rain, there should always be a reserve day that should be played, because it really robs all the spectators and all the audience of some real real excitement, which could be, people are waiting. People are all waiting eagerly for the World Cup to start, and when the World Cup, any of the matches get affected due to rain, I think that what the ICC should do, or this is just a sort of a recommendation, they could actually try to introduce some reserve days, so that at least try to get the match finished, because it really robs the audience and also the audience of all the excitement. And everyone are so eagerly waiting for the World Cups. At least one can understand about the matches which are played on a normal level. Well, when one does understand that, but when it is especially a World Cup like a T20 World Cup or a 50-year World Cup, I strongly believe that audience should really get their value for their money, and ICC should definitely look into this aspect of actually playing a reserve day, at least in the World Cup, so that at least they get that match finished. Well, this is purely my opinion, dear fans, friends and subscribers. I don't know how many people how many friends and subscribers or fans of Cricket Happenings would really agree to what I am telling. Well, so let's moving on from here. Let's look at the matches. So it is going to be the 14th match that I'm going to be describing in greater detail. It all started with South Africa versus Sri Lanka, which was played at the Zahoor Ahmed Chowdhury Stadium here in Chittagong. The toss was actually won by Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka, the first over, Sri Lanka actually won the toss, and they elected to bat on this pitch. And the first over was a very even flow. The good thing for South Africa was that Dale Steyn was back in action after that injury. And Dale Steyn, let me tell you, this was an eventful over with Kushal Perera at the other end, smacking Dale Steyn for a 6 and 2/4 to collect 17 runs of that over. In fact, Perera hit Dale Steyn by just rolling his wrists and putting him over the onside, thrashing him to the boundary, and he collected 17 runs for the first over. So it was a great start. It all began with a bang, with Thisara Perera getting 17 runs of the first 5 balls that he faced from Dale Steyn, and Dale Steyn would have not been amused by this for sure. But Dale Steyn had some joy on the final delivery that he bowled, as he went on to rattle the stumps of Tilakatne Dilshan. That was the first delivery that Tilakatne Dilshan was facing in that particular innings, and the very first delivery that he had from Dale Steyn, he had his stump shattered, and that was and also let me tell you, Kushal Perera, it was a wonderful game for him. Not only did he start off with a great bang, but he also it was all full-length deliveries. Believe me, if you have to hit a full-length deliveries for boundaries and sixes, that was something Kushal Pereira did, and he is really showing that he is definitely following in the footsteps of the now chairman of selectors and a former great player Sanath Jayasuriya, and is now the chairman of selectors for Sri Lanka. And I know for a fact that Sanath Jayasuriya would be watching this match, would have thought probably after seeing Kushal Pereira, he might have thought that he might have actually gone back to his halcyon days down memory lane, trying to recollect how he was playing when he was in his prime. And that was precisely we saw in Kushal Pereira today, the great start that he had with 17 runs of the Dale Steyn over, and that really set the tone. And after that, it was very difficult to stop Pereira, but Mahela Jayawardene disappointed as he was caught by Steyn, bowled by Morkel for 9 balls with 1-4. Kumar Sangakkara was out cheaply dismissed for 14. Imran Tahir was the one who actually took his wicket of 18 balls with 1-4, and that made the score 83 for 3 when Sangakkara departed. But Kushal Pereira, well, nobody could stop him. He was really attacking the South African bowling by hitting boundaries, and he went on in his merry way and took the score of the Sri Lankans to 106 in the 14th over. And that was the time Kushal Pereira perished, as he went for a big stroke of the bowling of Imran Tahir, and he was caught behind. But what a knock from Kushal Pereira. In the end, it actually fetched him the Man of the Match award, and was a very justifiable decision by the match adjudicators to give Kushal Pereira the Man of the Match. He richly deserved it. And let me tell you, Kushal Pereira has already signaled his intentions, in the sense I think he is going to be the talk of the World Cup, because the way he played Dale Steyn, one could very safely say that watch out for Kushal Pereira, one of the big hitters of the ball and following in the footsteps of Sanath Jayasuriya. He's absolutely, because he's very short, like Jayasuriya. He uses his wrists well, and he pummeled full-length deliveries from Dale Steyn into the fence and over the fence. So Kushal Pereira, what a knock! 61 of 40 deliveries, 6 fours and 3 6, really setting the tempo for Sri Lanka. But after that, Angelo Matthews, the captain, played a good hand, but he could not get much support from the other end. Not the captain, in fact, Dinesh Chandimal is the captain. Dinesh Chandimal was out for 12 of 9 balls with 1-4. That was the phase when Kushal Pereira departed. We definitely saw some. In fact, Kushal Pereira was also kept quiet after a brief flurry of strokes that he had. Between the 10th and 15th overs, we saw that Sri Lanka were really struggling. They couldn't get much runs on the board, and then it was left to Angelo Matthews, as a reliable person as he is, and one has seen his recent form has been such that one can definitely rely on Angelo Matthews to deliver. And yes, he delivered. He scored 43 runs of 32 deliveries with 3 fours and 1 6. Chandimal, the captain, was dismissed for 12 of 9 balls. Today we saw Imran Tahir returning his best T20 bowling figures of 3 overs no maiden, 3 for 26, bowled in the right areas. He had Chandimal trying to give him a hoik, and he had him stumped with a classical delivery. And then Pereira, the big hitter, was bowled by Morkel for 8. And finally, the Sri Lankan innings ended up at 165 for 7 of 20 overs. Kulashekara not out on 7 of 4 balls with 1-4. Senanayake was not out on 1. Looking at the bowling figures as far as the South Africans were concerned, Dale Steyn, well, he definitely got some tap from Kushal Pereira in the first over, but he definitely came back strongly and finished with 4 overs no maiden, 2 for 37. Sotsobe, I thought he bowled well, 4 overs no maiden, none for 31. Moni Morkel, 4 overs, 2 for 31. Dumini, 2 overs for 13. Albi Morkel was costly, 2 overs for 24 runs on his comeback. And Imran Tahir, as I said, returning his best figures in T20 cricket of 3 wickets for 26 runs. South Africa, starting their innings, they started off with Quinton de Kock and Hashim Amla. And Quinton de Kock showed initially the first 2 overs South Africa were a bit sedate, also one saw that Dinesh Chandimal, the captaincy of Dinesh Chandimal was something which had to be admired, because what he did is he actually kept Lasith Malinga later. He actually started off with Nuwan Kulashekara and I thought it was Angelo Matthews or Senanayake. He started off with them, and then kept Lasith Malinga back. And after 2 overs, once the second over was bowled, the third over of Kulashekara went for plenty, as Quinton de Kock unwinded and showed what a precocious talent he is by actually hitting some wonderful boundaries. In fact, he hit Kulashekara one on the offside for a boundary, then he put him for a 6 over the long on region, and Quinton de Kock was looking pretty good with his knock of 25, and the opening partnership had reached 32, and when South Africa were really starting to accelerate, that was the time Quinton de Kock fell, and that's the reason I said that Lasith Malinga's Dinesh Chandimal's captaincy was to be absolutely admired. What he did is he didn't give Malinga the new cherry, but he brought him to bowl the 5th over, and Malinga obliged by clean bowling Quinton de Kock for 25 of 18 balls with 4 fours and 1 6, and South Africa were 32 for 1 in 4.3 overs. After that, Hashim Amla and Duminy joined him. Well, Hashim Amla definitely was not a very convincing innings. He couldn't really get his timing right today. There was a struggle as far as Hashim Amla was concerned, and then JP Duminy, who came in as 1 drop, really showed how to bat, in the sense he saw to it that he was not going to be pottering around there, and Duminy definitely played some nice strokes. He decided to go after the Sri Lankan bowlers, and he played a nice knock, and Hashim Amla, after contributing 23 of 26 balls with 2 fours, was a victim of the bowling of Sena Naike, which made the score 82 for 2. In walked in AB de Villiers. Now, another thing, when I talk about Dinesh Chandimal, the Sri Lankan captain, who did a good turn, look at this. Very smartly, because he knew that Lasith Malinga is the one who is his pace spearhead, and he wants him. He definitely wanted him. So after bowling that 1 over, even though he took a wicket, what Dinesh Chandimal smartly did is that he removed Lasith Malinga out of the attack and brought the other bowlers. But he didn't bring on Lasith Malinga till such time AB de Villiers arrived at the crease. Once AB de Villiers arrived at the crease, that is, once Hashim Amla was dismissed and AB de Villiers arrived at the crease, that was the time he once again brought in Lasith Malinga to bowl a single over, and probably, he wanted to pit the best against the best, so he brought on Lasith Malinga. But even though Lasith Malinga didn't get any reward, after 2 overs, he once again kept Lasith Malinga towards the end, and finally, in the final analysis, you will know why I am talking about that, because the final over was 15 runs required of the final over for South Africa to win the match, and there were 2 runouts of the first 2 balls of David Miller and Dale Steyn, and finally it was Lasith Malinga who bowled the final over, and that was the precise reason South Africa won the match by 5 runs. So as I said, it was some brilliant captaincy, I thought, by Dinesh Chandimal, and his use of Lasith Malinga was absolutely superb, very intelligently used by Dinesh Chandimal, and he has all the makings of a very good captain for sure. So AB de Villiers and Duminy were at the crease, and Duminy, well, he kept on playing his strokes, but probably one thought that Duminy could have been a bit circumspect, in the sense with the score on 119 for 4, he tried to actually hit Sena Naike out of the attack, and he perished, caught by Dilshan at the deep for 39 of 30 balls with 3 fours and 2 sixes. We made the score 119 for 4, but and then they also lost AB de Villiers, who was caught by Sangagraf, the bowling of Angelo Matthews, after making 24 of 16 balls with 3 fours, and 119 for 4, and then the equation was they had to get a score of 165. So it essentially meant they required more than 40 odd runs to win the match. In the balance, we can say just 26 balls. And what South Africa did is they promoted Albie Markel. David Miller was already there, so they promoted Albie Markel in the batting order. And these were the 2 explosive players, and they are the ones who can really be game changers. And well, Albie Markel definitely showed that by spanking 2 sixes. Albie Markel took Ajanta Mendes and slammed him for 2 huge sixes, making 12 of 4 balls. But Ajanta Mendes had his man, as Albie Markel, going for the 3rd successive 6, perished, caught in the deep, caught by Chandimal of the bowling of Mendes. Now again, Chandimal's captaincy came into the fore, because what he did is, after those 2 sixes were hit, Chandimal actually went on and stood there. He himself took that position and tried to move himself a bit square, and that really paid off. So that's good thinking on the part of Chandimal to tell Mendes to keep on tossing the ball, and Albi Morkel smoked it, Chandimal caught it. So he was gone, 12 of 4 balls with 2 sixes, and then Farhan Bahardin came in and joined David Miller. Now Farhan Bahardin couldn't do much, he struggled, but in the 19th over, it was, I thought it was the 19th over. Yes, in the 19th over, the ball was given to Nuwan Kulashekara. Nuwan Kulashekara, as you know, he was taken apart by Quinton de Kock, but he came off and bowled pretty well. In fact, that 19th over was pretty crucial because with lots of runs required, probably more than 20 runs required. Lasit Malinga came in, he bowled his 3rd over, in which he gave away 10 runs. But Nuwan Kulashekara, in the 19th over, kept things so tight that not only did he dismiss Bahardin for 5, he also picked up the wicket of Farhan Bahardin for 5, and not only that, he just gave away 4 runs. So that really put the pressure on South Africa, and South Africa had definitely under pressure. But the good thing for South Africa was that David Miller was there along with Dale Steyn. But now Lasit Malinga was actually bowling the final over, and one thought that it's going to be a cracking contest, going to see whether the bat wins over the ball, or the ball wins over the bat. But well, let me tell you, I would say the crowd was deprived of this contest, as David Miller, the first to be run out. David Miller actually slow to start off the blocks, probably didn't. One does not know what was the reason, but the first ball that Lasit Malinga bowled, 15 runs required of the final over. Lasit Malinga was the bowler, and with South Africa requiring 15 of the final over, Dale Steyn was run out of the very first ball for a duck. So that made it 151 for 7. And David Miller, because of David Miller crossing ends, he had gone to the striker's end. So David Miller was facing the ball, and David Miller, in trying to come for the 2nd run when he was along with Morne Morkel, couldn't make it, and David Miller was run out, and that was a big blow for South Africa, to the South Africa's chances, and that definitely proved it to be, as David Miller was sent packing, run out for 19 of 16 balls with 1-4. And then, as you know, Lasit Malinga bowling to the tailenders, it is not so easy, but he was bowling to Imran Tahir, and Imran Tahir could collect 1 or 2 runs, but they couldn't do much. And then finally it became two balls and 12 runs required. But well, Imran Tahir, the 5th delivery, he couldn't do much, but in the final delivery, in a losing cause, Imran Tahir slammed Lasit Malinga for a 6th. Well, it was not something that really helped South Africa, but at least Imran Tahir showed that Lasit Malinga could be hit. And finally, the match was in Sri Lanka's bag, as South Africa lost the match. South Africa lost the match by a margin of 5 runs. What a match we had here, as I said. And I thought it was brilliant captaincy from Dinesh Chandimal, the Sri Lankan captain. He definitely deserves kudos. Kushal Perera, for his brilliant batting, was named man of the match. Looking at the bowling figures, Kulashekara bowled that excellent 19th over, I thought, with probably more than 20 runs required. Kulashekara bowled an excellently 4 runs and 1 wicket, 3 overs no made 1 for 23. Angelo Matthews 3 overs 1 for 21. Senanaike completed his quota very well, 4 overs no made 2 for 22. Malinga 4 overs 1 for 29, used very well by Dinesh Chandimal, the Sri Lankan captain. Tissa Pereira 2 overs for 18 was costly. Ajanta Mendes was really clouted by the South African, especially by Albi Morkel. 4 overs no made and 1 for 44, and that was it. So that's the first match ended. This was the 14th match in Group 1 in the T20 World Cup 2014, which ended in a very close game, but definitely deprived the audience of a very good contest between bat and ball, which one was looking forward to see whether David Miller can really clout Malinga into the stands, or whether Malinga is going to rattle David Miller's stumps. But unfortunately, those runouts were the ones which derailed the process, and it was all over for South Africa. So Sri Lanka starting their campaign in the T20 World Cup in a nice style by winning this match by 5 runs. So let's look at the other match now. We are talking about the second match which was played, and this match was being played at the Zahur Ahmed Chaudhry Stadium in Chittagong, England versus New Zealand. The toss was actually won by New Zealand, who won the toss, and they decided to insert England in. Well, for England, Michael Lumb, as you know, is a very aggressive player. They didn't have a good start. In the very first over, they lost Alex Hale's wicket, as Alex Hales, trying to turn one from Anderson, probably didn't actually get the middle of the bat. The ball flew up in the air, and I thought Anderson picked up a very nice catch. He had to go to his back and pick up the wicket. Kyle Mills was the one who provided the breakthrough. Alex Hales was walking out for a duck, and England were 1 for 1. After that, Moeen Ali came in and joined Michael Lumb, and there was a real acceleration because both of them, with Michael Lumb also, as you know, is an aggressive player. He started hitting a few boundaries, and Moeen Ali also showed how it could be done. In fact, Moeen Ali was much aggressive than even Michael Lumb by hitting boundaries on both sides of the wicket, and he played some very nice strokes. And both of them, what they did is they really started putting the pressure on New Zealand by getting a lot of runs. If you look at it, they had taken the score from 1 in the first over. That is the third ball. Alex Hales departed. They took the score on to 73 in the 8th over. So you could just imagine they were going at a clip of 9 runs per over at that particular stage. And Moeen Ali and Michael Lumb were really, I would say, they're really thrashing the New Zealand bowling. Especially Tim Southee was dropping the ball pretty short, and he was getting the right punishment from both the batsmen. Now it was going on, everything was going on well for England, and that was the time Moeen Ali was a victim of the bowling of Anderson for 36 of 23 balls, a very aggressive innings from him with 6 fours and 1 6. And then finally Michael Lumb, after making 33, was a victim of McClenaghan of 24 balls with 4 fours and 1 6. The score was 76 for 3 in the 9th over. Ian Morgan once again continued his poor form. He didn't do well against West Indies, as you know, and Ian Morgan definitely didn't do him any favor here by falling to Tim Southee. Was caught by Brendan McCullum for 15 balls with 1 4. It made the score 103 for 4 in the 13th over. Butler did his bit. Butler and Bopara did their bit, with Butler contributing 32 of 23 balls with 4 fours. Bopara making 24 of 19 balls with 1 4. Butler was bowled by Anderson for 32. And after that, they were the ones who were responsible to get England to a really decent score and a real, I would say, challenging score of 172 for 6 of their 20 overs. Jordan slammed 1-6 in his knock of 8 balls before being caught by Southee of the bowling of Nathan McCullum of 6 balls. Bresnan was not a Bresnan hit a very quick fire 17, unbeaten quick fire 17 of just 8 deliveries, 2 fours and 1 6. Ravi Bopara was not out on 24 of 19 balls with 1 6, and England finishing off with a score of 172 for 6 of their 20 overs. As far as the bowling was concerned, Kyle Mills, who provided the breakthrough, 1 for 36 for him. McClenaghan was very economical, and he also picked up the wicket, 1 for 22 for him. Tim Southee, as I said, was guilty of bowling a lot of short pitch deliveries, which really got some real hammering, especially from Michael Lumb and Moeen Khan. I thought it was Moeen Ali, right? It's Moeen Ali, and he was hammered for 46 runs of his 4 overs with 1 wicket to his name. Corey Anderson was named man of the match in this Duckworth-Lewis method match. 4 overs, 2 for 32 for him. Nathan McCullum, 4 overs, no made, and 1 for 32. Now New Zealand, well, when they started off the reply, they really started off in a nice fashion with Martin Guptill and Kane Williamson opening with Martin Guptill and really looking good. In fact, Stuart Broad opened with Moeen Ali, the left arm the spinner, and he considered 7 runs of his first over. Dernbash actually provided the breakthrough with Guptill after making 11 runs of 9 balls with 2 fours departed, caught by Jordan with bowling of Dernbash for 11. That made it 29 for 1. And after that, it was Kane Williamson playing, showing that he is in some good form here by stroking the ball sweetly and fluently to make an unbeaten 24 of 17 balls with 4 fours. And then the partnership was going on. Brendan McCullum came in, and Brendan McCullum probably had the thoughts in his mind that probably rain might come, and he decided that it's better to really start swinging, and he didn't waste any time after coming to the crease, and he started hitting the ball. In fact, he went after Stuart Broad by putting him for 2 sixes. Some 2 big sixes were hit by him. One was straight down the ground. The other one I thought was over mid-wicket, if I'm not wrong. But Brendan McCullum was not out on 16 of 6 balls with 1 4 and 2 sixes, and then there was a lot of rumbling sound in the stadium with lightning and thunder, and that was it. After that, there was no more play possible. New Zealand finished at 52 for 1 of 5.2 overs, and that was the time the Duckworth-Lewis method came into the picture, and it was decided that New Zealand were the victors by 9 runs. Moeen Ali, 1 over for 7. It was very sad that the match had to end in such a fashion. Dernbach 2 overs, 1 for 13. Preston Bull 1 over for 10 runs. Broad 1 over, as I said. Brendan McCullum going after the captain Stuart Broad and depositing him for 2 sixes. 1 over no maiden, none for 16 for Broad. Jordan Bull 2 balls, and that was it. That was the time it was decided. The umpires had to, all the players had to troop off with rain falling on the ground. He bowled just 2 balls and he gave away 5 runs. It was all over with New Zealand taking 2 points. And as I said, definitely in a World Cup, this is my gut feeling, and this is purely an opinion of mine. I don't know what you dear friends and subscribers feel about it. I sincerely feel that in a World Cup match, there should not be any World Cup match which should be either be interrupted by bad light or rain or whatever the case may be, because World Cup is World Cup. We need each and every match to go and to be played to the hilt, to be played to the full, to give the value for money for the audience that come there and who are really waiting. A World Cup is something that all the cricket fans all over the world are really waiting for that to happen. So I think the ICC should definitely come out with a plan. Probably one hopes that at least by the 2015 World Cup they come out with a plan that they have a sort of a spare day so that that match could be either replayed or they could start off from where they left off. Something like that should be in place according to me. As I said, it's purely my opinion. I'm no one to do that. I'm just the host of this Cricket Happening show. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you, dear friends and subscribers. I don't know what you all feel about it. Well, be free to actually put in your opinion or your comments, and I would be glad to really take it and see how many of you really agree with me on this score. Well, on this note, dear fans and subscribers, definitely I'm winding up my Cricket Happening show this on a late Saturday, but telling you that there are 2 good matches which are coming up tomorrow. India have already begun their campaign with a brilliant win against Pakistan, would be taking on West Indies, and as you know, West Indies are the defending champions of the T20 World Cup, and Australia, who have never won a T20 World Cup, would be taking on the Pakistanis. And Pakistan were the ones who lost to India, and Pakistan have to definitely see to it that tomorrow they win against Australia. But let me tell you, it would be a battle between, I think, Australia's batsmen against Pakistan's spin bowlers. So it should be a very good contest, and that is going to be the first match, and after that India would be taking on West Indies. So let's wait, and your host Ram, as usual, will be there to cover both the matches in detail. That's it from me, your host Ram, for this Saturday Cricket Happening show. See you all tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.